Good morning, and welcome back to one and all for another session. Boker Tov to everyone. If you're just logging on now, personal welcome. I see comments are coming in already, so keep them coming. Good morning, everyone. Another session of daily and lockdown inspiration. Hope you're keeping well and strong. And the comments are coming in, which is fantastic. Keep them coming. In just a moment, I'm going to welcome you all personally. Good morning, everyone, and good Chodesh. Good Chodesh. Let's welcome all those who have shared their greetings on Facebook. And let me say hello to you all. 1 second. Good morning, Shirley Feldman and Tracy Mindel. Good morning, Larry Cohen, Robert Levy, Maureen, Norman Stain, Eleanor Kotkus, Alan Yodelovitz, Larry Cohen. Oh, again. Hello, Helen Feinstein and Brian Feinstein, Shalom Triga, Marlene Sherv, good morning. Chodesh Tov, Arnold Ocken, Ruth Kalmek, Teva Ginsberg. Need to give you a hug. That's nice, not Larry. Okay, great. That's on Facebook. Let's see who's on YouTube with us. Nice busy crowd here. Avra Walpert, Manfred Kalmek, Dennis Solomons, Boker Tov, Shelley Smith, D. Tanner from Cape Town, Donald Lovitz, Ian Clemenson, Stan Brask, Boker Tov from Raylene, and yourself, Sherilyn Diamond. Good morning, Joburg and Cape Town. If there's anybody else from overseas who's logging on, let us know you're with us. We'd love to connect with you and welcome you. That's what we're here to do. As we go into our next session for another session of learning together. And that's what we're here to accomplish. Fega Sega, good morning. Hi, Hilly Lipworth on Facebook. Good to see you here. Ronnie and Eleanor on YouTube. I thought you guys were on, I think Eleanor's on Facebook, Ronnie. But anyway, either way is fine. Whatever you prefer. If you're logging in from overseas, just let us know you're here with us as well. Morning, Jaime and Linda. Good to have you online. Okay, we're going to get going today. I hope you're all well, keeping safe, keeping sane. We're going to get back onto the topic of the temple, of the Beis HaMikdash. Okay, which we started a couple of times in the last few days. We've addressed this topic. We've spoken about it a lot. But let me share with you another perspective or another angle to be able to understand more about the timing that we're in right now, the 3 weeks. And as we build up today's Rosh Chodesh, a Guten Chodesh, we're now in the 9 days leading up to Tisha B'Av. So the more we learn about this, it says that whoever mourns the Beis HaMikdash, the temple, will please God celebrate its rebuilding. So one of the reasons why we are learning about it so much and talking about it so much is because the more we talk about the Beis HaMikdash and mourn the fact that we don't have the temple today, please God, the more we'll be able to celebrate in due course when the Beis HaMikdash is built, the third temple in the Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim. So that's why we do that. Also, it says that when we talk about when we're talking about the service in the Beis HaMikdash, it's like us reliving it. So today we can't do it, but we can talk about it and learn about it. And when we talk about it and learn about it, it's considered as if we are there. It's as if we are there ourselves doing the work, doing the job. So our commentaries tell us that the three temples are corresponding to the three forefathers. The first temple is Abraham, the second temple is Yitzchak, and the third temple is Yaakov. Each one represented another forefather. We know that the three tefillos, the three prayers of the day, Shachris, Mincha, and Mariv, are also compared to our forefathers. Shachris is Abraham, Mincha is Yitzchak, and Mariv is Yaakov. It's not a coincidence, by the way, all these threes, the three forefathers, the three temples. It's not a coincidence. 333. But there's a direct link to it. Our sages explain like this. Hi, Dennis Solomon, Chodesh Tov. Our sages explain like this. Avraham Avinu, we know, had a child called Yishmael. Abraham married Hagar because Sarah was barren. So Abraham married Hagar. And then Abraham and Hagar had a child together who was Ishmael. So then he had Yitzchak. But Abraham had 50% success. Abraham had 50% success, 50% of Yitzchak. Yishmael, on the other hand, wasn't great. On the contrary, he went out as a hunter, as a fighter, and he left the ways of Abraham Avinu. And that compares to the first temple. Because we know the first temple didn't last. It was short-lived. $410 it sat in Yerushalayim. But after 410 years, it was destroyed. Avraham Avinu had Yishmael. If you look at the wording for the crushed oil, a few weeks back we were Parshas Tetzaveh. The Parsha of Tetzaveh talks about the olive oil that is crushed. The Hebrew word for crushing is katit, kosis lamoor. It's the crushed oils for the candelabra. That word kosis consists of two halves. The first half is kaf taf, and the second half is yud taf. Kaf taf and yud taf. And that spells kosis. Kaf taf equals 420. Yud taf is 410. So we have 410 years. We have 410 years of the first Beis HaMikdash. We have 420 years of the second Beis HaMikdash. That's kosis, kaf taf and yud taf. The crushed oil, because when you destroy the temples, it crushes the Jewish people like crushing oil. Tracy Mindel writes over here, was it a law in the years of our forefathers that they could not marry a woman that was barren? No, I don't think there was such a law to answer Tracy's question. No, but they wanted to have offspring. They knew that was the purpose of marriage. The purpose of marriage was to have children and offspring. And that's why they married Hagar in the case of Abraham. So Abraham corresponds to the first temple. Abraham corresponds to the first Beis HaMikdash, which lasted 410 years and then was destroyed. What's with Yitzchak? So Yitzchak, we know, had two sons, Yaakov and Esav. So Yitzchak also was only 50% good. Yitzchak also was only 50%. He had Yaakov and Esav. And Yitzchak is compared to the second Beis HaMikdash, the second temple. And we know that the second temple was also short-lived, 420 years. But comes Yaakov Avinu, and Yaakov Avinu is different. Yaakov has no Esav in his family. Yaakov has no Yishmael in his family. Yaakov has a complete 12 tribes of the Jewish people. Yud-Bei Shvatim, the 12 tribes. Morning Lionel Rubin on YouTube and Felicia Jenks on Facebook. I'm happy you got on as well. If any of you on Facebook are joining now, please like the video and press share. Share it with others. And if you figured out how to do that in YouTube, you could do that as well. That way we'll get the word out further and further. It's great to have you all online with us for another session of daily learning and lockdown inspiration. We're talking about the connection between the forefathers and the temples. Abraham is the first one. Yitzchak is the second one. And Yaakov is the third one. And it says regarding Yaakov Avinu, Mitato shlema, his bed was complete, meaning all his children were righteous children. Even the ones who did wrong during their lives repented and did tshuva. For example, Reuven, who moved his father's bed, did tshuva. So they were complete children. They were righteous children. And Yaakov Avinu was compared to the third temple. Because what does it say about the third temple? And the third temple is going to be eternal, everlasting, no blemishes at all. No Yishmaels and no Esavs, no blemishes at all. It's perfect tribes of Israel. And that's going to be the eternity the eternity of the Beis Hamikdash and the third temple is going to last long. What's eternity got to do with Yaakov? It's not just the fact that he had righteous children. What else did Yaakov carry that represented eternity? The answer is that Yaakov represented the attribute of emes. Yaakov represented the attribute of truth. That's what he was, truth. And truth withstands every single situation and circumstance. When a person's not so true, meaning a person's bias is the opposite of true. Bias is limited to a particular case, a particular scenario. But when you're true, it means you're consistent. That's what emes represents. In fact, if you look at the lettering of emes, look at the 3 letters of emes, you'll see the aleph is the first letter of the alphabet, the mem is the middle letter of the alphabet, and the taf is the last letter of the alphabet. That shows consistency from the first letter, middle letter, last letter, spelling emes. That was Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu is the midah, is the attribute of emes, which is eternity and consistency. Hi, Brian Olwen. And that's going to be the third temple. The third temple is built on emes. What does emes mean? Let's unpack that a little bit. What does emes mean? Emes means that I'm not just suitable to a particular scenario. Many times we fall into a natural habit, a natural circumstance, and that's how we respond best. But we can't be like that. For example, some people put on tefillin religiously when they go into work. Why? Because when they go into the office and they know their schedule, they get up at a certain time, they go for a run at a certain time, they go into the office at a certain time, they put on tefillin at a certain time. So when they have that structure, they put on tefillin every day. But the moment they come into a weekend, into a holiday, into a vacation, and suddenly their schedules are changed, they can't do tefillin anymore. Why can't I do tefillin? Because my schedule's out of whack. I don't know when I'm waking up. I don't know where I'm going. I'm not sure when I'm working and when I'm not working. And I'm all over the place. I lose myself. So I can't do it that way. That's not emes. That's not truth. Because I'm not consistent. Then you go the other way. People who they thrive on holiday. Because the moment they got time to breathe and they can process things properly and they can function properly, then they pull out their tefillin and they start putting on tefillin. But when they go to work and the schedule is hectic and the pressure is intense, they can't do that at all. They fall apart. And so they long for their holidays where they can do it. They long for their holidays where they're able to sit and learn and put on tefillin religiously because that's when they have time for it. That's also not emes. What's emes? What's truth? That no matter what environment I find myself in, whether I'm at home, whether I'm at the office, whether it's comfortable here or comfortable there, it's irrelevant. I know what's right. I know what needs to be done, and that's emes. Let me tell you, it takes a whole lifetime to get to this midah, to this attribute of emes. It's a lifetime. To be true to ourselves and consistent to ourselves, that is a lifetime of hard work. It takes effort. But that's the midah, that's the attribute of Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu was one who was known by emes. No matter where he was, what was going on, he remained faithful and committed to God. And that's what the third Beis Hamikdash means. The third Beis Hamikdash, the third temple, is going to be eternal. It's going to last every phase throughout history. The third Beis Hamikdash is going to survive that, like Yaakov Avinu. I mentioned at the beginning, these three forefathers don't just correspond to the temples, but they also correspond to the korbanos in the temple. And let's explain that for a moment. So Abraham is the morning sacrifice, and Yitzchak is the afternoon sacrifice. And Yaakov is the evening. There was no such thing as an evening sacrifice, by the way. There were only two sacrifices, morning and afternoon. So what is Mariv? What's Mariv all about? What does Mariv represent? So Mariv is Yaakov. Mariv actually is those sacrifices that stayed on the altar throughout the night. There was no obligation. The obligation was the Tamid offering in the morning and the Tamid offering in the afternoon. That was the two sacrifices. But then you had an evening sacrifice where the limbs of the animal would remain on the mizbeach throughout the night. And that sacrifice, the remainder of the animal's limbs on the mizbeach throughout the night, was represented by Yaakov Avinu. But I think there's a message there in that too. And let me explain what I mean. Abraham represents Shachris. Right? What Shachris? As I begin my day, I start off with a sacrifice. I start off with a connection to God. That's good. But then what happens later on? You know how many people tell me, Rabbi, I can learn, or I can do a mitzvah, or I can put on tefillin first thing in the morning, because that's where my head is clear. But the moment I go out into work and pressure starts accumulating and things are intense, there's no way I can pull away. I can't do it. I can't do it. Things are just too intense. So those are the Avram Avinu Jews. And then you have Yitzchak. And Yitzchak is mincha. It's at the end of the day, in the evening, in the afternoon. And Yitzchak is that type of person that says, when work finishes, I'll be able to devote my time properly. I could daven mincha at the end of the day. Before that, no way. It's so hectic. I can't do shachris and I can't do tefillin and I can't get up in the morning. It's just too busy in the morning. Things are going on. It's work. There's pressure. I can't do it. I could do it in the afternoon. And those are Yitzchak Avinu Jews. What's Yaakov Avinu? Yaakov Avinu, the common denominator, let me just mention this. The common denominator between Abraham and Yitzchak is they're both during the day. Have you noticed? Shachris and Mincha is during the day. Abraham and Yitzchak is during the day. Why? Because things are bright. Things are clear. Whether it's in the morning or whether it's in the afternoon, things are clear. I can see godliness. I can understand his world. And therefore I pray to him. But the question is, what's going to happen at nighttime? What's going to happen when the going gets tough? And it's not so radiant and so light out there. What's going to happen when pressure is on and it's deep and it's dark and it's gray? What happens to me then? Do I still offer sacrifices to God? Do I still pray to him? Do I still connect to him? Well, Abraham Brian Owen says, the Ner in front of the Aron Kodesh. Brian Owen. The Ner in front of the Aron Kodesh, burning off the Korbanos. That's right. The Ner in front of the Aron Kodesh represents the ongoing fire on top of the Mizbeach. That's correct. Burning the Korbanos. Okay, good. So, Abraham and Yitzchak were daytime servers of God. When things were bright and light, either in the morning or in the afternoon. What happens in the evening? That's the question. What happens when things aren't so good? You know, now, during lockdown, during the coronavirus, what happens now? How connected and dedicated and devoted are we to God during this time? That's the question. Comes along Yaakov Avinu and says, I'm going to offer up the sacrifices throughout the night. That means even though it's dark outside, even though it's hard, my slot is going to be the sacrifices on the altar during the nighttime. And that shows a true level of consistency. If you're able to offer up sacrifices to pray in Mariv when things are dark and gloomy and gray, that shows a true commitment to God. That shows a true commitment to God. And so Yaakov Avinu, which is emes, it's truth, it's consistent. He represents offering sacrifices up in the nighttime. By the way, it's interesting that Yaakov Avinu's, the limbs that were sitting on the altar throughout the night actually came from the afternoon offering, from Yitzchak's offering. So Yaakov almost has a hand both in day and in night. He has a hand in the day because the sacrifices came from the afternoon offering of the Tamid offering, but he sits through the night because that's where the bones and the limbs would sit on the altar throughout the nighttime. So Yaakov Avinu is a balance of day and night. He is consistent. And that's the second, and that's just the Mikdash. The first two Batei Mikdash, the first two temples, they were destroyed. They were biased. They were limited to a specific time in history. They couldn't last eternally. But the third Beis HaMikdash, which is Yaakov Avinu, which is emes, which is truth, which is consistency, that's going to last forever. Because when you're consistent, you ride the waves. What comes your way, you remain devoted and connected. We say this in the Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, our favorite song of Shabbos, Tov L'Hodot LaHashem. And what do we say there? Lahagid baboker chastecha. What do you mean? That we're going to tell over your kindness. We're going to tell over your kindness baboker in the morning. When things are bright and things are going well, then we tell over your kindness. Ve'emunatcha ba'leilot. Ve'emunatcha ba'leilot. But your faithfulness. How do you show faithfulness? How do you show faith? Is baleilos. That's going to be at nighttime. So talk about the chesed of Hashem. That's baboker. But emunascha, the faithfulness, the connection to God, the commitment, that's specifically at nighttime. That was Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu was the offerings of the nighttime. And that shows true consistency. As we say, Tamid. So the candle on top of the Aron Kodesh, that's called the Ner Tamid. That's a continuous flame, the Ner Tamid. The offering of the morning and the offering of the afternoon is called the Korban Tamid. It's a keves echad ta'aseh b'boker. First we do one in the morning, and then one in the afternoon is called Tamid. What does Tamid mean? Tamid means be consistent. Be consistent. Consistency means doing things no matter if it's light or dark, day or night, in the mood, not in the mood, happy, sad, it's irrelevant. I know that I've got to do what I got to do. A soldier doesn't have time to tell you, okay, I'll go out to war if I'm doing this, if I feel like that. Or I won't go out to war if I don't. We don't have time for that. We're in the middle of a war. We got to transform this world. We got to bring light to the world. We got to bring godliness to the world. We got to build the third Beis HaMikdash. And when you're building the third Beis HaMikdash, we're looking for consistency, for commitment, for eternity. We're looking for soldiers. We're looking for soldiers that can focus. For soldiers who know how to light up the night. Light up the night. Bring the sacrifices during the nighttime. And that will bring to emes, that will bring to the truth of Yaakov Avinu and to the consistency of Yaakov Avinu, which is expressed through Mariv and through the third temple. And so during this time of the year, we focus on the rebuilding of the third temple. It's also important to refocus on our davening, Shachris Mincha Mariv. It's nice to connect with each other, achdus and unity. And I thank you all for being here this morning as we discussed the character traits of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov and how they relate to the first temple, second temple, third temple, and how that relates to Shachris Mincha Mariv. Hopefully we learned something new today, some food for thought, some daily inspiration. Thank you all for being online with us again for another session. We'll be back here tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, 10:30 on Facebook and YouTube. I look forward to seeing you here live on one of the two platforms. In the meantime, have a wonderful day ahead. Keep safe, keep sane, and keep spiritual. And thank you for joining us this morning. Have a wonderful day.